Welcome to Key Tech. Please describe this channel if you are interested in today's video. Many American companies and celebrities have already issued such warnings, but the Biden team has not taken it seriously and has always moved in the wrong direction. After the tripartite agreement between the United States, Japan and the Netherlands was reached, the United States is trying to lock down China's semiconductor industry. The intention of 14 nanometers is also very obvious. After the Netherlands compromised with the United States, it stipulated that ASML could only ship 1980 Di equipment, which could only realize 38 nanometers process manufacturing. Soon Japan also followed up with the new regulations and restricted the shipment of 23 lithography equipment. This will naturally give China the chip industry is causing trouble, but US companies are not much better off. Although China is a state of etiquette, in the face of the aggressiveness of the United States, China cannot always swallow its anger and launch a full-scale reciprocal countermeasure. After announcing the launch of the security review of Micron, the Biden team has already panicked. There have always been rumors that American companies have left a back door and provided it to relevant departments to do meddlesome things, but now it seems to be a real hammer. He quickly put pressure on Yinxia. Once Micron withdraws from the Chinese market, Korean companies must not fill in the gap. It tried to play the role of striking the East and attacking the West, but it is clear that China does not accept this. The domestic supply chain already has an alternative plan. Yangtze Memory Apple's supply chain favors high-quality NAND chips, and Hefei Changson's DRAM memory is sufficient to meet basic needs. In addition, the wave of independence promoted by Huawei has taken shape, the localization of 14 nanometers EDA tools, the localization of 13,000 components, and the localization of 4,000 circuit boards. Wait, the autonomous industrial system has already taken shape. Here comes the worry of the Biden team. According to custom statistics, in the first 4 periods of this year, China imported a total of 146.8 billion chips, a year-on-year decline of more than 21.1%, and the total imports also fell by 25.6%, leaving only $105.6 billion. It means that in the first 4 months of 2023, 23.9 billion chips will be imported less, and the total import value will be reduced by 252.6 billion yuan. The ratio of last year indicates that the domestic chip manufacturing capacity is increasing, and the self-sufficiency rate is also greatly improving. On the other hand, American companies are not doing so well. Affected by chip regulations, high-end chip shipments are restricted, and now the low-end and mid-end markets are being seized by Chinese companies. For American companies that are highly dependent on the Chinese market, they are facing unprecedented challenges. While the market value was reduced by more than half, the revenue and profit continued to plummet, and the company could only rely on layoffs to maintain the normal operation of the company. The first quarter financial reports of major companies have been given. Although Qualcomm has resumed the supply of Huawei's 4G chips, its revenue still fell by 12% year-on-year, and its net profit was only $2.2 billion. In view of the current situation, it can only continue to lay off employees. Similarly, Intel's revenue plummeted by 36%, with a net loss of $2.8 billion. It had to slow down factory expansion and lay off employees to save capital expenditures. After Nvidia was restricted from exporting high-end chips, although it relied on artificial AI to save some sales, its net profit still fell by more than 15%, leaving only $1.6 billion, while AMD was terrible, with a net profit decline of over 118%. The loss exceeds $180 million, not to mention Micron. Once the results of the Chinese review are released, it will usher in a catastrophe. What the Biden team is afraid of is finally coming. Without the implementation of chip rules, the global cooperation in the semiconductor industry will not be destroyed, and the biggest beneficiaries are naturally American companies. Such a toss will consume the international reputation of American companies. As a result, the self-government process of Chinese enterprises is also accelerating. Combining the current situation with such a set of data, foreign media also bluntly said, the Biden team has lost. All the practices of the United States have begun to be betrayed by our own people. In the face of interests, international companies cannot allow themselves to be at the mercy of them. Chinese technology is on the rise. After Huawei has survived 4 rounds of suppression, Chinese people have completely given up all illusions about Western countries. More and more Chinese companies have begun to join the self-research team, ushering in comprehensive breakthroughs in manufacturing terminals and new materials. SMIC, the advanced 14 nanometers mass production process, is comparable to the international top level in terms of yield rate and performance. Similar mobile phone manufacturers such as Xiaomi and OPPO have also started independent research and development of chips. In order to meet the needs of the domestic low-end market, SMIC has assembled $150 billion funds for the expansion of mature process factories. 75% of the orders come from domestic manufacturers. Huawei has achieved the localization of 14 nanometers EDA software. With the RISC-V architecture belonging to the Chinese camp, a complete autonomous system prototype has been successfully built. Both the ARM architecture and the x86 architecture have certain defects. The advantages of RISC-V architecture are already obvious. At the beginning, international companies accepted the chip rules because they wanted to hinder the development of China's semiconductor industry and gain greater benefits from it. Unexpectedly, it had a counterproductive effect. Under the huge financial loss, they naturally began to wake up. Therefore, Chips, what do you think about the fact that the rules are difficult to continue to enforce?